The clock glowed at 2:17 a.m. when my phone buzzed. I'd been lying there for hours, staring at the ceiling of our bedroom while Isabel slept peacefully beside me. Or so I thought. The text made my blood freeze. Something unexpected came up. Staying at Vera's tonight. Love you. I sat up, my ex-cop instincts kicking in. Isabel wasn't beside me. Her side of the bed was cold. I grabbed my phone and typed back, "Yeah, his name's Nolan, give it 25 minutes. The response came faster than expected. My phone rang. "Mick, what are you talking about?" Isabel's voice was breathless, panicked. "Cut the crap, Is. I know you're not at Vera's. Want to explain why Find My Phone shows you at the Riverside Apartments? That's where your coworker Nolan lives, isn't it?" Silence. Then the sound of a car door slamming. "I'm coming home. We need to talk." 23 minutes later, our front door burst open. Isabel rushed in, her hair disheveled, makeup smeared. Behind her stood Vera, looking like she'd rather be anywhere else. "Mick, I can explain everything," Isabel started, but I held up my hand. "Save it. Vera, thanks for being such a loyal friend. Really stellar performance covering for my wife's affair." Vera's face went red. I didn't. Sure you didn't. That's why you're here at 3 a.m., right? Moral support for your lying friend?" Isabel stepped forward. "You're being ridiculous. I was helping Vera with her divorce papers. We lost track of time." I laughed, a sound that surprised even me with its bitterness. "At Nolan's apartment? What's he, a lawyer now? Last I checked, he was just another pretty boy at your design firm." The look that crossed Isabel's face told me everything. Guilt, fear, and something else. Annoyance that she'd been caught. "How long?" I asked quietly. "Mick, please." "How long, Isabel?" 3 months, she whispered. 3 months. While I'd been working double shifts to pay for her dream vacation to Italy. While I'd been planning our 10th anniversary party. While I'd been the faithful, boring husband she complained about to her friends. "Get out," I said to Vera. "This is between my wife and me." After Vera left, Isabel tried to approach me, but I stepped back. "Don't. Just don't. I need time to think." "Mick, it doesn't mean anything. It's just physical. You and I, we have history. A life together." We had a life together. Past tense. That night, I didn't sleep. Instead, I sat in my garage workshop, surrounded by the tools of my handyman trade, planning. Isabel had made her choice. Now it was time for me to make mine. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. The next morning, Isabel tried to act normal, making coffee and chatting about her day as if nothing had happened. I played along, watching her carefully. "I have that big presentation today," she said, adjusting her designer blazer. "The Morrison account. It could make my career." "That's great, honey. Nolan helping with that too?" She flinched, but recovered quickly. "He's on the team, yes." After she left, I got to work. Years as a cop had taught me patience and thoroughness. If Isabel wanted to play games, I'd show her how it's done. First stop, the Millstone, the local dive bar where my old partner Ray worked security part-time. The morning crowd was thin, mostly retirees and shift workers grabbing breakfast. "Mick, what brings you here so early?" Gina, the bartender, wiped down glasses with practiced efficiency. "Need some information, Gina. You know everything that happens in this town." She grinned. "Flattery will get you everywhere. What do you need?" "Isabel's been acting strange, staying out late, secretive. You heard anything?" Gina's expression shifted. "Oh, honey, you really don't know?" "Know what?" "She's been here twice with that pretty boy from her office. Nolan something. Real touchy-feely, if you know what I mean. Thought maybe you had an arrangement or something." My jaw tightened. "When was this?" "Last week, and the week before. Always during lunch hours. She told me you knew about their work meetings. Work meetings. Right. Thanks, Gina. I owe you one. Mick, whatever you're planning, be smart about it. She's not worth throwing your life away. But as I walked to my truck, I realized my life was already thrown away. Isabel had seen to that. Next, I drove to Riverside Apartments, a upscale complex where young professionals lived. Nolan's silver BMW sat in spot 23B. I memorized the license plate and took photos of the building layout. My phone buzzed. Text from Isabel. Working late tonight. Don't wait up. I typed back. Sure thing. Say hi to Nolan for me. No response. That evening, I parked across from the design firm's office building. At 6:30, Isabel emerged with Nolan. He was exactly what I'd expected. Tall, perfectly styled hair, expensive clothes. They got into his BMW and drove straight to his apartment. I followed at a distance, my old surveillance skills kicking in. They parked, went inside, and didn't come out for 3 hours. When Isabel finally came home at 11 p.m., I was waiting in the living room. How was work? I asked casually. Exhausting. The Morrison presentation is tomorrow. I'm stressed. I bet. Nolan helping you relieve that stress? She froze halfway to the stairs. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing, dear. Just wondering how dedicated your coworkers are. She stared at me for a long moment, then went upstairs without another word. I stayed downstairs, making plans. Isabel thought she was clever, but she'd forgotten who she was dealing with. I might be just a handyman now, but I was a handyman who knew how to investigate, how to plan, and how to execute. Tomorrow, things would start getting interesting. The next morning, I followed Isabel to work, then positioned myself at a coffee shop across from her building. At 10 a.m., I called her office. Harper Design, this is Isabel. Mrs. Harper, this is Detective Morrison with the police department. We need to speak with you about a break-in in your neighborhood. Are you available this afternoon? A break-in? Is Mick okay? Your husband is fine, ma'am. This is just routine questioning. Can you meet us at 2 p.m.? Of course. Should I come to the station? We'll come to your office. More convenient for everyone. I hung up and smiled. At 2 p.m., Isabel would be waiting for a detective who would never show, but I would be watching to see what she did when she realized it was a false alarm. Sure enough, at 2:30, I saw her frantically making phone calls. She tried calling me, but I didn't answer. Then she called someone else, probably Nolan, and I watched her gesturing wildly through the office windows. At 3 p.m., my phone rang. Mick, did the police contact you? They were supposed to meet me about a break-in, but no one showed up. No police called me. Maybe it was a prank. Maybe... Her voice was uncertain. I'm coming home early. This whole thing has me rattled. See you soon, sweetheart. When she arrived home, I was in the garage, working on a project. She found me there, still looking shaken. The weirdest thing happened today, she began. Oh? Tell me about it. As she recounted the fake police call, I nodded sympathetically while putting finishing touches on my latest creation, a small tracking device that would fit perfectly under her car's bumper. That is strange, I agreed. Good thing it was nothing serious. That night, after Isabel went to bed, I installed the tracker. Now I'd know exactly where she went and when. The game was just beginning. Over the next week, I tracked Isabel's every movement. The pattern was clear. Work, lunch with Nolan at various hotels, back to work, then evening visits to his apartment 3 times a week. She was getting sloppy, confident that I was the same trusting fool I'd always been. That confidence would be her downfall. On Friday, I made my move. I waited until Isabel left for work, then drove to Nolan's apartment complex. His BMW was in its usual spot. I had 20 minutes before he typically left for the office. The tracking device went under his car first. Then I slashed 2 of his tires, not all 4, which would suggest vandalism, but just enough to cause inconvenience. Finally, I left a note under his windshield. Nice car. Shame about the company you keep. Phase 1 complete. At lunch, I positioned myself at a restaurant with a clear view of the hotel where Isabel and Nolan usually met. Sure enough, they arrived separately at 12:30. But when they came out at 2 p.m., Nolan was on his phone, looking agitated. My phone buzzed. Text from Isabel. Might be late tonight. Nolan's having car trouble. I typed back, that's unfortunate. Hope it's nothing serious. That evening, Isabel came home flustered. You won't believe what happened to Nolan today. Someone vandalized his car and left a threatening note. Really? What kind of note? Something about the company he keeps. It's probably just random vandalism, but it's still scary. Definitely scary, I agreed. Good thing you weren't with him when it happened. She gave me a sharp look. Why would I be with him? Just saying. If it was random, the vandal might have targeted anyone nearby. Saturday morning, I escalated things. I called Isabel's boss, Lane Morrison, at home. Mr. Morrison, this is Mick Harper, Isabel's husband. I'm sorry to bother you at home, but I'm concerned about my wife. Concerned how? She's been working very late lately, often with that Nolan fellow. I'm wondering if everything is appropriate at the office. There was a pause. Mr. Harper, are you suggesting something improper is happening? I'm not suggesting anything. I'm telling you. My wife is having an affair with your employee, and they're using company time and resources to conduct it. That's a very serious accusation. It's a very serious situation. I have photos if you're interested. I didn't actually have photos yet, but I would soon. I'll look into this, Mr. Harper. Thank you for bringing it to my attention. After hanging up, I smiled. Lane Morrison was a straight-laced businessman who valued his company's reputation above all else. This information would not sit well with him. Monday morning, I followed Isabel to work and watched from my coffee shop vantage point. At 9:30 a.m., I saw her and Nolan called into Morrison's office. The meeting lasted 45 minutes. When they emerged, both looked shaken. Isabel immediately went to the bathroom, and I could see her through the window, clearly upset and making phone calls. My phone rang. Mick, can you meet me for lunch? I need to talk to you about something important. Of course. Everything okay? I'll explain when I see you. We met at a quiet restaurant downtown. Isabel looked terrible, pale, stressed, her usual composure cracked. Lane called Nolan and me into his office this morning, she began. Someone told him we were having an affair. Someone? Any idea who? No, but Lane is furious. He's talking about transferring one of us to the Portland office, or possibly letting someone go entirely. That's rough, but if there's no affair, you should be fine, right? She stared at me across the table. Mick, do you think I'm having an affair? Are you? Answer my question first. I leaned back, studying her face. I think you're a beautiful, intelligent woman who's married to a boring handyman. I think you work with attractive, successful people who probably seem more exciting than your husband, and I think you're capable of making very poor decisions when you're not thinking clearly. That's not an answer. It's the only answer you're getting right now. She reached across the table and grabbed my hand. Mick, I love you. Whatever problems we have, we can work through them, but I need to know you trust me. I looked down at her hand on mine, the same hand that had been touching another man for 3 months. I want to trust you, Isabel, but trust has to be earned. That afternoon, I put my final plan into motion. I called Ray and asked him to meet me at the Millstone that evening. Then I sent anonymous tips to 3 local gossip blogs about a prominent local design firm executive having an affair with a subordinate. The blogs wouldn't publish without proof, but they'd start asking questions. In a town this size, questions had a way of becoming facts very quickly. By evening, the trap was set. All I had to do was wait for Isabel and Nolan to walk into it. At the Millstone, Ray listened as I explained the situation. You sure about this, Mick? Once you go down this road, there's no coming back. She made that choice for me 3 months ago. I'm just evening the score. And if she tries to make things right? I finished my beer and stood up. Then she should have thought of that before she started screwing her coworker. The next morning would bring the final confrontation. Isabel had no idea that her carefully constructed double life was about to come crashing down around her. But I knew, and I was ready. Tuesday morning arrived gray and drizzling, matching my mood perfectly. Isabel had barely slept, tossing and turning beside me all night. Her phone buzzed constantly with texts she tried to hide. "Everything okay?" I asked over coffee. "Just work stress. The Morrison account presentation got moved up to today." "With Nolan?" She flinched. "The whole team is presenting." After she left, I made my final preparations. I'd rented a storage unit across from Isabel's office building and set up a camera with a telephoto lens. Today, I'd get the proof I needed. At 10 a.m., I watched Isabel and Nolan leave the office together. Instead of going to a client meeting, they drove to the Riverside Hotel. I followed and positioned myself in the parking garage. They emerged 2 hours later, Isabel adjusting her clothes, Nolan checking his watch. I got it all on camera. The guilty looks, the way they separated before getting to their cars, the kiss goodbye they thought no one could see. But the real show was just beginning. I'd spent the morning making phone calls, to Isabel's mother, to her sister in California, to 3 of her closest friends. The message was always the same. "I'm worried about Isabel. She's been acting strange, staying out late. I think she might be having an affair with someone from work." By noon, Isabel's phone was ringing non-stop. I watched from my surveillance post as she frantically answered calls, her face growing more panicked with each conversation. At 2 p.m., she called me. "Mick, what did you do?" "What do you mean?" "My mother just called, crying. She said you told her I was cheating on you. My sister is threatening to fly out here. What the hell is going on?" "I expressed some concerns to people who care about you. Was I wrong to be concerned?" "You had no right. I had every right. I'm your husband. Or did you forget that while you were screwing Nolan?" Silence. "Isabel?" "I'm coming home. We're settling this now." "Looking forward to it." She burst in like a hurricane, furious about my calls to her family, until I asked the question straight. "Did you sleep with Nolan Price this morning?" Her face went white. Her excuses fell apart. She begged for couples therapy. I told her no. She'd planned this, lied to my face, and I'd decided to return the favor. Her phone rang. Lane Morrison's voice on the line, firing her for the scandal. Within days, the gossip blogs, friends, and Nolan's transfer finished the job. Isabel moved out, tried to start over in Portland, and Nolan left for California. I kept the business, bought a new truck, dated casually, and felt satisfied, not happy. Revenge, I learned, doesn't heal, but letting people live with their choices is sometimes the best payoff.